Hello everyone, my name is Suman Dua. I'm a registered migration agent at Nationwide Migration and Education. We make videos every week in regards to Australian migration, and if you are interested in this topic, you may want to subscribe to our channel. In this video today, we will discuss the basic requirements for the temporary skills shortage 482 visa. Now first, let's look at the requirements for the sponsoring business. The business seeking to employ you must be actively and lawfully operating in Australia or be actively and lawfully operating overseas, not in Australia, and be bringing the visa applicant to Australia either to establish a business operation or to fulfill contractual obligations. In addition, there must not be any adverse information known that is relevant to the business suitability as an approved sponsor. Now please note that adverse information includes, but is not limited to, contraventions of Commonwealth, state or territory laws relating to matters such as immigration, industrial relations or taxation, pending investigations or disciplinary actions, being the subject of administrative action for possible contravention of the law, insolvency, or having provided bogus documents or false misleading information to the Department of Home Affairs. Now please note that certain businesses may be able to apply for accredited status, which enables them to receive priority processing for all TSS nomination and visa applications. Please contact us to check if your employer's business may be eligible for accreditation. Now let's look at the nominated position. The position to be filled must be a genuine full-time position, be in the sponsor's business or that of an associated entity, and be subject to a written contract of employment unless exempt from this requirement. Now please note that if the sponsor is located overseas, the position must be located in the sponsor's business, have a salary that is at least $70,000 per year, excluding any non-monetary benefits, and at least the annual market salary rate, which is also known as AMSR, for your nominated occupation. The AMSR for your nominated occupation, excluding non-monetary benefits, must also be no less than $70,000 per year. The AMSR is the salary that an Australian earns or would earn for performing equivalent work on a full-time basis for a year in the same workplace at the same location. You will be exempt from this requirement if your salary is more than $250,000 per year. Be subject to conditions of employment other than earnings that are no worse than those that apply or would apply to Australians performing equivalent work in the same location. Must have been subjected to labour market testing. That is, the sponsor must have attempted to recruit a suitably skilled and qualified Australian to work in the nominated occupation. This requires the sponsor to provide evidence that it has advertised the position within the last 4 months for at least 4 weeks. Alternative LMT criteria applies in certain circumstances. Evidence provided in support of LMT must meet strict criteria regarding the location, type and content of the advertisement. Sponsors are not required to undertake LMT if an international trade obligation applies. Now let's look at the additional requirements for the medium-term stream. To qualify for the medium-term stream of this visa, the nominated position must also be on the current medium and long-term strategic skills list, also known as MLTSSL, or on the regional occupation list and located in a regional area of Australia. Certain occupations on these lists will be subject to additional requirements, for example, work experience, location, type of business, operated by sponsor, and the nature of position. The medium-term stream allows for a maximum 4-year term of employment. Let's look at the additional requirements for the short-term stream. The nominated position must also be on the short-term skilled occupation list, known as STSOL, to qualify for the short-term stream of this visa. Certain occupations on this list will be subject to additional requirements, example, work experience, location, type of business operated by sponsor, nature of position. The short-term stream allows for a maximum 2-year term of employment unless an international trade obligation applies. Sponsors must pay the Skilling Australians Fund (SAF) levy for each subclass 482 nomination lodged with the department. The amount payable varies based on the sponsor's annual turnover and the visa applicant's proposed period of stay in Australia. For sponsors with an annual turnover of less than Australian $10 million, the SAF levy is Australian $1,200 for each year of the nominated visa applicant's proposed period of stay, which means Australian $1,200 for a 1-year visa, $2,400 for a 2-year visa, and so forth. For sponsors with an annual turnover of at least 10 million Australian dollars, the SAF levy is $1,800 for each year of the nominated visa applicant's proposed period of stay. That is $1,800 for 1 year and $3,600 for the 2 years visa, and so forth. The SAF levy must be paid upfront at the time that the nomination is lodged. Now let's look at the requirements for the visa applicant. As the visa applicant, you must have skills, qualifications, and work experience that match those required for the nominated position. Certain applicants will be required to undergo a formal skills assessment, which must be commenced prior to lodging the visa application. You must have at least 2 years of full-time experience or part-time equivalent in your nominated occupation or a related field. Genuinely intend to work in the nominated position, meet any mandatory licensing, registration, or professional membership requirements. There is no age criteria for a 482 visa, and have made adequate arrangements for health insurance during your stay in Australia and meet the relevant health and character criteria. Now, to qualify for the medium-term stream for this visa, you must also have the required level of English proficiency. That is, you either must hold a valid passport issued by the UK, USA, Canada, New Zealand, or the Republic of Ireland, and you are a citizen of that country, or an IELTS test score of at least 5 in each test component or an equivalent test. You are exempt from this requirement if you have completed at least 5 years of full-time study in a secondary or higher education institution where all instruction was conducted in English. Now let's have a look at the additional requirements for the short-term stream. Now, to qualify for the short-term stream of this visa, you must also genuinely intend to stay in Australia on a temporary basis only, have the required level of English proficiency, hold a valid passport issued by the UK, USA, Canada, New Zealand, or the Republic of Ireland, and you are a citizen of that country, or IELTS overall test score of at least 5 with a minimum of 4.5 in each test component or any equivalent test. So if you're a business who is looking to sponsor your overseas workers in Australia, you may want to get in touch with us. If you have any questions in regards to Australian migration, please get in touch with us. You can visit our website nationwidemigration.com.au and book a consultation online. If you would like to stay updated about Australian migration, please subscribe to our channel.